Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys. So we did end up bouncing off of the 21 EMA today on the daily time frame on SPY and QQQ. And as we can see, we closed out at the highs today. We took out yesterday's high, and now we're gapping up in the after hours after getting our World War III, the shortest World War III, the resolution to that. Okay, so we have a deal that's been made. All right, there's no more conflict that's going to be going on over there. The market is seeming to like it. I'm just going to say to all the bears out there who, just really we're calling for the end of the world, calling for, crazy downturns. I'm going to tell you right now, the second I start seeing people talk about crashes, the second I say your credibility is out the window. Nobody should be talking like that. You got no business being a market participant if that's how you're thinking, because you're going to make decisions off of how you're thinking. And that is a one-way ticket to continuously losing your money. Crashes don't just happen like that. We literally just had one over here. All right. This normally in normal circumstances, this wouldn't have happened. All right. This was literally, we had conditions that were worse over here than we saw in the COVID 2020 crash. Okay. Like real talk. It was a manufactured crash to happen over here. And anybody who's thinking that it's just going to go back to crashing after having that much of a rebound, you got no business being a market participant. If you were in that camp, I will show you on this channel how it's done continuously, 4 days a week and once on the weekend. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you see when our updates are coming out. All right. I'll give you a nice, detailed, nice, organized way of looking at the market, and you're not going to have those bad thoughts anymore. You don't need to be preying on the market's downfall. The market will usually get bought up. At the end of the day, we had very bullish structure going on, and we knew I was looking for it to come down here. Okay, you're either going to bounce right off. We talked about it. You're either going to bounce right off these 21 EMAs, and you are going to hold 591.05, or you were going to take out 591.05, and you were going to come down to the 200 DMA over here. And there, we were looking to buy the dip heavy over there on the Mag 7 stocks. As we could see, you never freaking tested 591.05, and now you're back up at the highs real quick. All-time highs over here on QQQ is likely coming this week. Bears, I'm sorry, but this is how it goes. You have a bull flag going on right over here up into the 21. You get a candle like this. I don't care about the resolution that happened in after hours. I was already going to come on here today and say, hey, we're likely going to be pushing back up above 535 over the coming sessions, and then likely head straight to all-time highs, 540.81. All right, the market doesn't go straight up when there's a lack of buyers, and we get these, these little exhaustion type of moves over here where, buyers just can't seem to lift you up. You pull back a little. You just barely take out the high, and then you pull back again. All right, you just barely take out the high, you pull back again. When you get these kinds of moves, you see the exhaustion. That just means buyers, they're not willing to take it up. There's no new buyers up here. So the market likes to pull back so it can create those new buyers. That's exactly what happened over here. Now, guys, I'm just going to say all-time highs coming over here. QQQ, probably this week. You can see how the weekly candle is shaping up. Come over here to NQ, and you can see how that weekly candle is shaping up. We're already back up at the highs over here. If you come over here to QQQ, it's going to open like that tomorrow. We're going to be all the way up here. It's very likely that we're coming straight up to 540.81. Okay, so let's go over the levels over here. We're going to go over at SPY and QQ. We're going to go over IWM. We're going to go over the Mag 7 stocks. Then I have a few trade ideas for you guys to focus on because things are looking like they're going to freaking explode. And I want you guys to make money on it. If you guys are tired of not knowing where the setups are in the market, we have, we're going to say 2 to 4 hot setups that, in terms of options, they will be running 50 to 200% every single week. The link is going to be down below. We call them out in the Discord beforehand, during hand, and after hand. Okay? There's not a word. But yeah, if you're tired of missing out, if you're tired of not knowing where the money is moving in the markets, what these hot setups are, I continuously point them out. And this is, why I tell you guys, it's not wise to just size the heck up on one position. It's not. Too many traders message me and they take themselves out the game. In reality, I've been doing this for years, and I know every single freaking week we get these fresh list of setups here that are ready to give you that same percentage gain right there, at least throughout my system, every single week. Do not take yourself out the game. If you're getting things wrong, you size down. But I promise there's always going to be next week in a fresh list of setups here on this YouTube channel. I'll give you what I can over here, okay? I will guide you through these markets. But straight up, it's up to you to not take yourself out of the game. Please don't let that happen. The market can be frustrating. If you don't want it to be so frustrating, you could join me down below. All right, but as far as current price action goes, guys, it's going to be pretty darn stinking easy to make money right now in this market, okay? Anybody who is long off of this over here, anybody who got long today, you are going to be making a decent chunk of change this week. I can almost guarantee it. This thing is likely heading up to all-time highs now. All right, on the upside, we have 536.78, and above there, we have nothing until 540.81. On the downside, we have 535.37, 533.05. That's all we're going to concern ourselves. So if you do end up pulling back over here tomorrow, it's a 0.5% down from where we are currently. If we do get that move, which I don't think you're going to get it, all right? See how the 4-hour RSI, it's not overbought yet. Okay, we're probably going to see a push into overbought territory, and that's probably going to result in this guy going up here, and maybe then you pull back here, and then you go like that. Or you're going to peek your head up above all-time highs, maybe just consolidate, maybe pull back a slight amount, and then continue higher. That's typically what this is going to tell us, okay? But we do have a bull flag breakout, and tomorrow, looking like we're going to have a green session right off the bat before we even open over here, and we got ourselves a breakout, okay? It's looking real fine, real sexy over here, okay? So that's QQQ. We're going to come over here to SPY, and guys, we got the bull flag breakout sooner over here. So this is what I point out, you know, sooner. I know QQ just broke out in the after hours, but SPY was giving us a hint earlier on in the day, and then this is how we closed out the day. You took out this resistance over here. It's very likely going to be pushing up. Well, then you get the resolution coming in the after hours, and now we know, yeah, it's pushing up. It's already there. But again, same scenario. 4-hour RSI is not overbought yet. We could definitely see that thing get overbought there. And then when it gets overbought, you get these little pullbacks, reversion to the means, and then you go like that. But as of right now, guys, the 4-hour cloud is just now flipping back to bullish over here. If we see a pullback to the 21 EMA, which is going to be around $600, 600 to 600, 602, depending where we are when we start pulling back, we're going to look for buyers to step in just like they did over here to take us back up. Doesn't mean we can't consolidate after that, but it just means that next pullback, it's going to be buying opportunity. All right, so on the upside, we're watching 605.37, 609.07, then all-time highs at 613.23. Just like QQ, I do think all-time highs are on the table in the short term. I know I sound crazy, but I sounded crazy telling you guys that this was a buy the dip opportunity, and it was either going to take out 591.05 and come down to the 200 DMA. I was preparing to, you know, go heavy on the Mag 7 stocks on July. Well, not even July. I just wanted 1 to 2 month out contracts down there. I knew that if buyers are going to defend, it's going to be down there. Okay, we would have had an inverse head and shoulder pattern right here, and the left shoulder, it would have been right here at 575, and that's right around the 200 DMA at 580. Okay, so that was where we were planning to buy the dip, or you were going to hold the daily 21 EMA here, which you got buyers 2 days in a row, and then you were going to start pushing back up. Regardless, it was a buy the dip opportunity. Now we can see it didn't want to bust it down, so it busted it up. Okay, but yeah, SPY on the downside now, we're talking 601.75, 599.46, and then 595.54. If you come all the way back down to 595.54, maybe this is a bull trap. I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay, so if you do pull back, just look for buyers off of 601.75. All right, worst case scenario, you come back into today's range and you find buyers off of yesterday's high, which was 599.46. Okay, if you want another level, you can add today's high at 654. That is SPY. We're going to come over here to IWM, guys. It looks ready to freaking explode. I told you guys in the weekly chart, I told you the market was leaving us clues. Okay, and I said it didn't make sense over here. So I was actually saying I thought SPY and QQ was going to end up pulling back. You know, I'm just going to say, guys, you don't always need to know where the market's going to make money in the market. Okay, I thought the market was going to give us a larger pullback. Doesn't mean I still wasn't focused on those hot stocks I was talking about. Real talk. You always got setups to focus on. There's always going to be relative strength in the market. It is my job to find that and give that to you guys, okay? Link is going to be down below. If that's something you just haven't found in your own trading, all right, I will give it to you every single week, and I will let you guys make money as you see how it is done. All right, so IWM over here was one of these things that was giving us a hint. I personally thought SPY and QQ were going to go down to those 200 DMAs over there, while IWM found buyers off of the weekly 21 EMA, considering I think it was 5 out of 5 times we did, or 4 out of 5 times we did end up finding buyers off there. That's 80% odds we're going to be doing so. As we see, we had a nice setup going on over here, and we did not test the 0.618 fib over here. We tested exactly the 200 DMA. That was the target over here when we were playing. I hope you guys took it off over there. We got the top tick that bitch over here, pardon my French. But straight up, you got the reversion to the mean we were talking about, and now I'm thinking it makes sense to head up to the 0.618 fib, which is at 217. So that's going to be your target this time around. I don't know if you're going to fill the gap that's being left overnight here. I really have no idea, but I'll tell you right now, you can put this on your chart, and if you see it, it's a buy the dip opportunity off of 211.78. I don't think you're going to see it, but target 217 over here on IWM. Let's come over here, the Mag 7 stocks, and we're going to kick it off with my favorite setup right now over here on the Mag 7 stocks. Yes, Tesla's going berserker today. I understand that. Okay, I told you coming into this week, that was, one of these guys in the Mag 7 stocks that I thought was looking real nice. Okay, like we kind of knew that eventually it was going to be breaking up. I know it likes to play its tricks, but you gave back most of this downside. Okay, you had a big sell over here. It turned out to be a pullback because we literally saw Elon apologize to Trump on Twitter over here, and most of the move was given back. Okay, which means the sellers did not have the conviction everybody thought they had. They didn't. And then we got consolidation above the 200 day man, above the short-term moving averages. And guess what? It falls out with the big breakout the next week. Yeah, that's cool, okay? But not my favorite setup right now as far as the Mag 7 stocks go. Meta, this is getting ready for a ripper. This is one I added to today. I like the 718, 750C. I like the 718, 720C. And honestly, 718 expiration over there. I think the 720Cs are going to go in the money over the next one to two sessions, okay? But you get about 100% gain on any strike over there that's out the money for the 718 expiration. That's July 18th. You get about 100% for a 20-point move, okay? So I was thinking by the time we get up to 720, we just need to really move to 715. We're going to be up 100% over here. And as we see right now with the news in the after hours, yeah, I think we got a catalyst for this thing to freaking break out of this bull flag over here. You got the reversion to the mean. Again, same situation as SPY and QQ, okay? You're either going to break the 21 EMA, which the key level I pointed out over here was 675.25, and then I would be targeting down here, all right? And potentially come down here. I didn't think that was going to be hit, though. But guess what? We didn't even test it. Okay, we didn't even come all the way down there. The market did not want to mess with that. And then all of a sudden, bang, all right, Menda's coming all the way back up to the top end of the range. And, if we actually look at this in an objective manner here, we did sweep the low over here. We swept the bottom of this range. And when we have a false breakdown, we typically target the top end of the range. That is going to be 708.87. If we break above 708.87, make it easy on yourself, break above 710. We're talking a quick move up to 725, and then we're talking 740.91, which is all-time highs. This thing is getting ready to be a ripper over here. I think we just had, a little consolidation period, something like that, and we're about to have a nice 1 to 2 weeks here on Meta. I hope you guys are playing along. And again, if you're not, if you can't find these setups when they're happening in real time, I will do the work for you, okay? I will take that. I'll help you out with that, okay? I'll take that misfortune away from you, and I will show you every single week where the hot setups are and how we can execute on them in real time. And you're going to learn. I promise you're going to see the market in a different manner. So if you are one of those people that I was telling at the beginning of the video that is thinking the preying on the market's downfall, and you're always, in that situation there, okay, I will show you how not to be in that situation, okay? And even if you're taking a loss on some things, I promise there are so many hot setups every single week. There's always relative strength to focus on in the market. All right. So Meta, guys, get ready for the breakout above 708.87. This thing's about to be a ripperoonie. Let's get it. Okay, GOOG, this was on the ugly side of things. I still would not be focusing on this. Yes, it's probably going to recover with the rest of the market. You held on to this trend line we have laid out right here. Okay, touch point, touch point, touch point. I know you closed underneath it, but as we see, it's probably going to be a false breakdown. We're going to have to see if you can reclaim the 200 DMA. You saw the daily cloud over here. Unlike most of the other Mag 7 stocks, the daily cloud flipped bearish. All right, now this is going to act as resistance up here. We're going to have sell orders sitting right around the 21 EMA and your 200 daily moving average, which is right around 172.91 resistance. Okay, on the upside, we have 168.24, 170.65, and then 172.91. Get above 172.91. You're probably coming all the way back up here, 178.13. Potentially back up to the 0.618 fib. That again, just like IWM, you just missed by a hair. That would be 183.50. Going over here to Amazon, it's another one like GOOG that, you know, honestly, if you're going to play the Mag 7 stocks, focus on the stock I just put your eyes on. I'm telling you, I give you a lot of free info over here. I try and do my best to make you guys make some money in this market. It is up to you to pull the triggers. I'll help you pull the triggers, but I can't really do so over here on YouTube. All right. It is 100% up to you for risk management. It is 100% up to you to pull those triggers. Okay. All I could do is point to what's hot every single week, because I'm telling you, there are hot setups to kill it every single week. There's a way you can make your money every single week. You focus on the relative strength. Meta, the thing is going freaking nuts right now. You're going to focus on it. Okay. Tesla, it's going nuts right now. You're going to focus on it. All right. But I'm telling you, Meta, Tesla had a really big move today. I wouldn't be chasing it. It's still probably going to go higher, but Meta has not even had its breakout yet. That's going to be a big winner over the next 1 to 2 weeks, in my opinion. All right. But Amazon over here, guys, on the upside, we're going to take away that right there. I'm just going to point out inverse head and shoulders pattern right there. I know you have this little pullback. If you do make it back up here, you're coming all the way up here at 225, okay? If you could take out 220, you're coming up here at 225 to 230 real quick. On the upside, though, we're going to mark this out right here. You have 211.60, and then you have 214.84. Get above there. You target 218.40, and then 220. That's Amazon. Apple over here, it looks like it's probably going to get a breakdown. You had a false breakdown over here from this pennant. It was a false breakdown. So you're probably going to target that upper trend line. Same concept as that, you know, range, false breakout, false breakdown that we just talked about. That concept, same exact thing over here. It's the pattern. You had a false breakdown. It ended up breaking up. Well, it's looking like it's going to end up breaking up. We'll see. But, you know, so far, that is how that's just shaping up. It's getting really tight over here. I think a big move is low and over here on Apple. All right. And on the upside, you have today's high. Probably going to gap up above it. But you have 202.30, 204.50, 206.75, 209.48, and you're targeting 214.56. Above there, you're coming up here. Tesla, like I said, all right, showing a lot of relative strength today. The thing's looking like a freaking monster. It's looking like it wants to continue. Hit it with the stick action over here. Above 355.40, we're talking 367.71. You get above 367.71, ladies and gents, you're coming up here at 400 plus. All right, that's Tesla. That's all you really got to concern yourself with. If you happen to get a big old pullback back to 335.50, if you get any pullback tomorrow, it's a buying opportunity. I can almost guarantee it. June, July, strongest months for Tesla. Guess what? June was absolute dog crap. You literally did not go anywhere. You didn't go anywhere. This was your June over here. And now you're in the same spot pretty much, okay, as when you started June. Still have not seen that strength that we normally see June to July. I'm thinking we have a nice end of June into July over here loading on Tesla. NVDA, all right, got the breakdown from your rising wedge today. You did end up getting this little dead cat bounce, I was thinking this morning, and then you did end up selling back down. You then got bought up. You swept the lows, and you got bought right back up. And now I'm going to say this thing's probably taking out 146.54 over the coming session. All right, and at that point, you're back above these highs, and then you target 148.97, 153.13, current all-time high. Looking real juicy. A lot of things are looking juicy, but I'm still going to say focus on Meta. It's getting tight. It's about to break out tomorrow. It can explode. Focus on it. That's the Mag 7 stock that I see a lot of strength on right now. Microsoft, it's continuing to do its thing. You had a false breakdown over here on Friday. Everybody got bearish. Well, what happened today? You got bought right back up. And now we can see you're all the way up at 490 in the after hours, okay? It's looking pretty freaking crazy. The fact that this was at 473 and now it's going to be at 490 tomorrow off the open maybe. That's insane, okay? I would say don't look to be short on these things. There's no reason for you to lose your money. Don't lose your money, okay? If you are consistently losing your money, take a step back. If you have the itch to trade, size down. Okay, you're clearly not doing something right. You need to size down. You need to get your head right. You need to get back in the freaking game. I'll give you a little mental slap right here. Get the fuck back in the game. All right, get your head back in the game, I should say. All right, I didn't mean to hurt anybody there. Okay, I didn't mean to slap you too hard, but I got to slap you back into the head into the game. Okay, so that was for the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Everything's looking like it is ready to freaking explode. This is the Mags ETF. you're already gapping up over here in the after hours up to 54.39 resistance. If you open above there tomorrow, any pullback is going to be a buying opportunity. I'm going to identify this level right here. If you see 54.08 tested, that's your buying opportunity off the open tomorrow. I doubt that's going to happen with how this is set up. This daily RSI is probably about to get overbought over here. Okay, we're probably about to see this thing come back up after this consolidation. You have the same consolidation going on over here that you kind of have on the chart. It's congestion. I know that thing's going down, that thing's going up. But, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, I think that divergence is about to be burned. We're about to see the daily RSI come all the way up here, and price is about to run to 55.83. MAGS ETF is about to run as the MAG 7 stocks run. Now, let's point out some hot stocks. All right, let's point out the setups right now that on this market strength, you can make a decent chunk of change over the coming sessions. AVGO. Okay, AVGO over here, you got this tight little bull flag action going on. It is about to start breaking up. All right, and I think we get above 265.43 pretty quick. Above 265.43, we're talking 280 to 300 bucks. All right, this is going to be a nice move over here if we get the move, which I'm telling you right now, we're getting it right now. Okay, so that's AVGO. Next one we're talking about is Crowd. All right, CrowdStrike just got a breakout in the after hours over 491.20 over here. You got this little bull flag action as well. Pull back to the 21 over here, just like you pull back over here. You got bought up. Now it's getting tight against all-time highs, 491.21, 491.20. This thing is probably going 500 to 520 over the coming sessions. This is something you could be making money on. Okay. Aside from that, let's talk about it. We have IWM looking like over here, so you know to be focused on some small caps. They're about to probably have some outsized moves. Rocket Lab. This is one, again, you know, we have a lot of these setups every single week, and I identify them for you. Okay. It's just up to you to pull the trigger on them. I can't really, you know, pull out your phone or pull out your computer and click the buy button. Okay. But what I can do is put your attention and, you know, put your eyeballs on the setups that are about to go, and then you could try and make that freaking crazy money. All right. I know HIMs end up falling off a cliff, but guess what? That's exactly what I was saying. Please stop sizing up. I get messages and stuff like that. You know, just understand, anybody sending me messages like that, I know you made the forbidden mistake. All right. You sized up way too much, way more than you're comfortable. You went 100%, 50%, even like 30% on one trade. All right. You're uncomfortable in the position. I know you want to make big bucks really quick, but you don't have to take that approach. You can make consistent money in the market, and you don't need to take that approach, the gambler's approach over here. HIMs fell off a cliff. I personally had about 5.5K I put into it, okay? I woke up with a 4.5K loss. I was fucking pissed, all right? I wasn't sad about it. I was just kind of like disappointed that, you know, they ended up doing that. But you know what? I put 4-something K over here into Rocket Lab. It was like, this thing looks ready to go. This is on the focus list to buy a gap down, or not a gap down, but a pullback intra-week over here. And then we're going to be looking for the breakout above 30.78. And that would bring us up here to all-time highs 33, 34, 35, and then 40. Well, the play is now in motion, okay? And the play has given us over 100% in one day on July contracts. If you took weeklies, you're up 500, 600% from where we were buying in. All right, real talk. This is exactly the concept I was just talking about. You don't need to put yourself in these risky positions. Okay, you can easily make that consistent money. If something's not working, don't go nuts. So don't make it so you have to go nuts over it. Okay, don't. All right, like I didn't go nuts over HIMs. I was just kind of disappointed. I was like, that was going to be a 20K payday if things didn't fall off a freaking cliff over here. Real talk. This was going to do what it's done all the other times when you started getting this weekly breakout. But no, their partner called them out for being fraudulent, and they said, nope, I'm backing away from you guys. You guys are a fraudulent company. You're a scam. Yeah, it died, okay? But it is what it is. Some of them play out. Some of them don't. I'm going to say the vast majority, you're going to get the follow through. But this was, you know, an A++ setup. I would take 10 out of 10 times, because we're going to say 8 out of 10 times of those, you're making big freaking money over here. You're making hundreds of percents even on July contracts that are 1 month out. You're making on 2-month contracts, you're still making 100%. On weeklies, you're making 500 to 1,000% in 1 week. Okay, real talk. These are the setups to focus on over here, and I would take it 10 out of 10 times. It's not my fault that that happened. It's not your fault that that happened. There was absolutely nothing on these charts that are telling you what to do on that, you know, that told you that was incoming. It hasn't happened once on the chart. I'm sorry for anybody who had to take the loss with me today. But at the same time, I will just say, you have setups to focus on every single week to make that back / to keep making that consistent money. And Rocket Lab is an amazing example of this. This was on the focus list this week. We're looking for the pullback for an entry over here, and then we wanted to see a breakout above 30.78. Guess what? This thing is probably breaking above 33.34 tomorrow. It actually already did so in the after hours. Well, no, it didn't. High as 33.33. You were off by a penny over there. It's likely going to gap up above it tomorrow and push 35 bucks. I'm thinking this thing could get explosive, so it's definitely my my top watch right now, aside from Meta. But I am currently already in those plays. Okay, I think you're a little late on Rocket Lab, but at the same time, I think you're just about to get a breakout, and we do have a potential move like that loading. All right, so that is Rocket Lab. Coming over to Hood. All right, Hood, it was showing a little relative weakness on the day. Well, guess what? It's already back up to the highs, just about to 78 bucks. Just has to get back above 79, and boom, it's off the races again. And I think we're probably going to be on our way, well on our way up to 85 bucks. That's Hood. Walmart. All right, I put it on your radar coming into the week because we had two back-to-back weeks off of the 21 EMA over here on the weekly time frame, where we had these lower wicks right over here, and you held the 0.786. Well, now all in one day, you're having this crazy push up off of volume. The thing is probably going to start marching its way back up to 99.50. Get above 99.49 over here, 99.50. We're talking 189, 102.55, and then 105.30. More specifically, 105.30. You get above 99.50, you're probably going to make your way up to 105 within the 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, one to two of these weekly candles. If we break above here and head to 102 this week, I imagine you're probably going to be taking out 105.30 next week. But I'm going to play it safe to cover my butt and say the next 1 to 2 weeks, you can expect that move. That's Walmart. SOFI, another one we pointed out in the weekly update over here. And again, hit right with the break and retest, just like a lot of these setups we point out. That is my bread and butter, is the breakouts and the break and retest setups. Those are my favorite setups. And SOFI is definitely one that got bought right up off your breakout level, 1478. And now, in the after hours, you pushed up to a new high. Above 1564, we're talking 1610, 1661, and 1711. That is SOFI. It's looking sexy. MCD, I told you guys to be watching this bad boy for the potential reversal. I told you all about it. It's over here on the daily time frame. Whenever we get down here, you usually do end up getting your bounces. Sometimes you don't get the bounce right away, and the tell was going to be over here on the weekly time frame. We're on the lookout over here for our first weekly reversal candle, okay? Whether this, I really would have liked to see something like this week. We still can, all right? And then I'm going to take advantage of it next week, but it's something I'm going to be pointing out here that I think is about to start moving again. You're finally seeing a sign that buyers are stepping in and the market is turning around. PayPal, this is one that's full on turning around up here. You're already at 72.50, so imagine this weekly candle is actually all the way up here. You're at 72.50 resistance. Above 72.49, guys, we're talking 74.15, 75.27, and then up here 200 DMA at 76.46. Above there, 79 bucks. I think this thing has a crap ton of consolidation here. And when you finally do break out above 74.15 here, you're going to have a $5 move to the upside. That brings you straight up to the 0.618 fib up here. Whole retracement down, 0.618. That is where you're heading, 79 bucks. Okay. TTWO, we talked about this. It's setting up for a breakout, the next leg up. I think it's starting right here, right now. You got the daily close above 240.78. You rejected here Thursday or Wednesday and Friday. Well, now the thing is starting to move and groove. We're talking 250 and then 260. It's on the table. When this thing gets breakouts, it likes to have these big boy moves. So we're going to say 250, 260, realistically 250 to 255. That's what I'm looking for. Lemonade. All right. Lemonade is actually one I found on Twitter from Zastocks. Okay. If you are not following me on Twitter, the link will be down below. I would go check that out. I will give you a ton of setups all the time. I'm going to be really active on Twitter, and I would say if you want to have a good time in these markets, all right, watch these videos. Go have notifications on over there. I'm not posting any BS. There's nothing of the sort. I'm not one of those Twitter accounts. I'll tell you right now, it's only what you should be keeping your eye on. These are all stocks with setups that I think are ready to go, all with valid information, and they can easily help you make money in the market, okay? Link will be down below, but there's also a guy, Stocks, my buddy over there. I think he has great content as well, all right? And that is where I got this guy. That's also actually where I got this guy from that I'll just point out. I'm not going to say to chase this guy. All right, the time would have been to buy it in the base. I think this thing is kind of started taking off, and you're right underneath the 200. So I don't think it's the best time to be buying it. All right, but we're going to definitely be watching on a pullback, and yeah, we're going to be looking for reversion of the mean, and then we can enter that bad boy. Okay, I'll let you guys know when it's time, but it's not right now. Okay, not right now. But lemonade. All right, I really like the weekly candle chart over here. I think we are probably getting ready to have a few weeks of where we just keep ripping up over here. And yeah, I think it's very obvious that is what the chart is telling us over here. Above 48 bucks, you have nothing until 53.85. Will come over the daily time frame. Nothing until 53.85, which is that high. And then you break that high, you're coming straight to 58.83. This can be a squeezer over here. It has high short interest. TRWV, also one with high short interest, got the picture perfect break and retest off of over here. Last time we took out this low, we went about 10, it was like about 11 bucks, but it's about $10 low over here, okay, from that previous low. And then you started getting bought up and you almost came immediately back to that high. That's what I was telling the Discord today. And guess what? What do we have right here? It's just about $10 underneath that low, and you started getting bought back up immediately. And now you've printed a hammer candlestick here on the daily time frame, break and retest off of 166.63. It's looking sexy. It's looking like it wants to resume back up the highs. 187, take out that, we're talking 200 bucks. Carvana. All right, Carvana is something that I put in this back-to-back, you know, little consolidation we got going on over here above the 21 EMA, guys. This thing is likely going to be continuing back up to the highs. Keep it on the radar, okay? Other than that, guys, I'm just going to point to coin and MSTR because Bitcoin is starting to pop up, but pop off. But coin over here, I'm just saying, I don't think we're going to hit it, you know, with this breakout here and then just immediately have another month of consolidation. I think we're probably going to hit it with the 1-2 and get that second week of continuation there after the first initial breakout. That is what you had over here. That is what you had over here. If you do have an intermediate week over here, expect it to be bought up. Okay, but I think we're probably in one of these processes where we get multiple trending weeks going on, and I think we can see 350 to 370 over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so next 1 to 2 weekly candles here, we're looking for upside. All right, aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. You got MSTR, Bitcoin starting to pop up. I know there's a bunch of 387.5 calls for this Friday that someone opened last week. All right, they're still holding them. I do think we can start seeing MSTR pop off. And I think that guy, yeah, I think he's going to make money, honestly. I do. I like the look of Bitcoin right now. You almost fully recovered this slow, painful downtrend right here. That little slow and controlled downtrend, I should say. And boom, you shot right back up. Very quick, might I add, okay? Look at how they stair-stepped you all the way down. Okay, very slow downtrend over here. Boom, resume the bulls. Resume the uptrend. Okay, the impulsive move to the upside. Check out the weekly candle at this point. This thing probably is about to pop back up the highs. All right, and that means MSTR over here in coin, they're probably going to have more fuel in the tank. All right, guys, aside from that, we have ARM. Printing a bullish engulfing candlestick today. It is getting a little bit more of a gap up to 152 in the after hours, so I'm not really going to tell anybody to play it, but I do think it's a hot setup right now. And above 150.14, we're talking 153.80, 157.29, 161.34, and then 164.16. The 2027 buyer is still out and about. He was active last week, and yeah, he's been rolling the boat. You know, someone knows that ARM's coming back up the highs, and I think it's only a matter of time. All right, with that being said, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys had a lovely day today with the market freaking exploding back. I really do. I hope you're going to make so much money this week. And again, if you're worried about not making that money this week, you could join me down below. I will put your eyeballs where they need to be, and I will keep your emotions in line. Well, let's look at it this way. You're going to see firsthand how to actually run this shit and how to do it. Okay? Because if you don't know how to do it, you got to get your mind right, and you got to learn how things actually work. And that I show people every single week in real time. All right. With that being said, guys, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of the day, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.